Dun, 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 dun.
What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 3 of a weaker update. My name is Diego Goldfrank, but if you're watching this, you knew that already because you have my phone number probably. This episode is brought to you by Doom Scrolling. That's why you're getting it on Wednesday, because I was lazy. Some updates from last week. My Blackout Wednesday was spent well. I will not be elaborating. And Thanksgiving was spent well too. You know, it was with my white family, so naturally I had one plate, but I took home a gallon freezer bag of brownies because I know how to play the game by now. Some of you may know my alma mater is Northwestern University, and they recently arched their backs and spread their purple cheeks for the Trump administration to Lake Phil this week. So for more on this, it's time for a brand new segment, a more up-close look.
Down, 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 down.
Back in April, the federal government froze $790 million of federal funding. And of course, our then president, Michael Schill, decided to courageously resign in shame. With that $790 million out of play, research crumbled, 490 people lost their jobs, and the university felt poor. And they did not want to do that. They were like, I can't, fuck, let's go be fascists now, I guess. And I will say, I feel for the administration, having almost $1 billion of funding taken away is not something to scoff at. That's a fuck ton of money. And I get that you want to capitulate in some way, if not to allow for life-saving, innovative research to continue, but at least to keep the damn school running. But they cut a deal, and what's in this deal? It's not good. And I knew it was going to be bad because they lived the fuck out in the email they sent us. They were like, don't worry. Northwestern runs Northwestern. Period. Shut the fuck up, dude. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me so much of well-behaved women seldom win elections. We know that. We need people to stand the fuck up for us. And looking at this deal, none of that was done. Not only did the administration decide to give away 10% of the money being withheld from them, they're paying $75 million to the government over the next 3 years. They also conceded on every single possible issue they possibly could have conceded on. I haven't seen a performance that piss poor in my lifetime, and I'm a Tottenham fan. Am I right, guys? If you don't get it, we're terrible. But first, okay, the school bans all masks and face coverings on campus, which I don't agree with. But on the bright side, there is an exception for if an international student gets a little too annoying. Sorry. I do wish, though, that they were a little more honest about the fact that they got fleeced. Thoroughly. They presented this deal as a win for the university. We expect reinstatement of all active grants that were funded by federal agencies and that were impacted by the freeze. These funds will resume quickly. Hell yeah. Some terminated grants will not be reinstated, specifically those the federal government has cut. Oh, all right. We've restored all our funding. Woo! Except for some of it. Keep clapping. And also, what's to stop the federal government from freezing this funding again and opening new investigations into the university? This agreement puts the university on the right path. Not only is our funding being restored, but we also now have a framework to continue to receive funding. This should raise some concerns, though, because what exactly is that framework? Not only are we now committed to giving Trump's administration $25 million a year for the rest of his term, we're now falling directly in line with whatever they want. This is dangerous, because I know Northwestern. Northwestern is made up of 3 groups of people: gay people, nerds, and finance bros. For it to truly be itself, the 3 need to live together in harmony. The gay people need to make shitty theater so the 10% of it that's good can inspire us. The nerds need to lock in, not shower, and somehow end the quarter with making a prosthetic hand or a penguin foot shoe. I don't fucking know. Whatever the nerds do. And look, the finance bros, we don't need them, but they give the other 2 something to run away from. Something to aspire to be. A one day I'll blah blah blah, you'll see. We need all 3. And it feels like with whatever inches that we are giving this government, we're taking miles away from the nerds and the gays, something Northwestern cannot afford to do. We don't want to become a sellout school. We're so close already. Look at Duke. Not for the kicker. Or the 4 kickers. Well, the 75 million is a pretty big kicker. So all right, kickers 2 through 5. Kicker number 2, gender. There's 2 of them according to the university. Performance studies, I'm sorry, your major is cooked. The school will be placing, quote, no restrictions on the transgender community, but also protecting the wishes of governmentally approved women who request all-female sports, locker rooms, housing, showering facilities. All gender housing is still active, so I will give a point to Northwestern. But we know what this means. Keeping trans people out of sports and locker rooms and bathrooms is not a new crusade, and enforcing this will negatively impact the lives of everyone in the community. Except for like the weird racists who get no bitches, like whatever. Kicker number 3, DEI. Northwestern is remaining vigilant in making sure to be race blind in admissions. No proxies tolerated either. No personal statements, diversity narratives, or any applicant reference to racial identity can be used in making admission decisions. For biracial and multiracial kids, thank fuck. Like, you know, I'm too white for the Hispanic kids, too Hispanic for the white kids. We need to shut the fuck up. But for everyone else, this is very dangerous. Taking race out of application materials entirely is also impossible. You cannot exist in this country outside of your race. Like, my experience is unique both to me and to people who have the same ethnic background as me. And it's very, very important to have a diverse group in a college campus. Northwestern is also agreeing to give the government a report of race and test scores in their admissions, which, like, fine. Like, we are an elite school, and everyone who gets in deserves to get in, as well as half the kids we reject. But what this really is an opportunity for the government to pick nits and make a scene out of every black kid who gets let in without submitting test scores and every white kid who gets rejected with the high SAT. Opening yourself up to new experiences is part of going to college, and ensuring a diverse student body improves the experience for everyone. It also levels the playing field by accounting for systemic oppression and blah, 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 whatever. You guys fucking get it, right? I'm not trying to be preachy here, but I cannot understate the importance of diversity in the community. I had Trinidadian food a couple days ago, and frankly, I don't think my life will ever be the same. I'm talking about myself here right now. Food. Remember Halo Halo Day in Sarge? Shout out the Filipinos. That was the most amazing day ever. Remember that one time Sarge served tamales and they were like, the corn husk is not edible. They had to tell kids that. That's bad. Kids should know that. The dining halls are getting worse. Who is talking about this? No. Thank God. Kicker number 4. The dining advisory board is okay. But seriously, the entire Deering Meadow agreement is fucked. The result of Northwestern's encampment, where students were sleeping in tents, facing off of police, facing imminent threats of military action from our good old President Michael Schill, that's all a resounding nothing. The university will one day celebrate this encampment as proof of student activism, but currently it's showing students that activism does not work. The Deering Meadow Agreement, which many community members and activists disagreed with, seeing as Northwestern never actually agreed to divest, it came from fear tactics and threats of police violence, which Schill and the board purposely designed to ensure that they can manipulate a group of sleep-deprived 19 and 20-somethings into thinking they had the weight of the world on their shoulders and force their hand. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but due to this agreement, this horse is alive and kicking. And that's not to say that nothing good came from the encampment. Northwestern agreed to bring a few students and faculty from Gaza to study and teach, essentially saving them. This was their ticket out, and that ticket just got canceled. Northwestern also committed to making a space for Muslim and MENA students, similar to the Women's Center, Hillel, the Black House, the Multicultural Center. Pragmatically, this is one of the most necessary spaces. Not only do Muslim students make up a significant percentage of the community, but with so many holidays they celebrate throughout the year, students that pray throughout the day, and the fact that those students actively avoid pork, which is present in every dining hall, why the hell would you not already dedicate a space to them? It's so much easier to make one space that accommodates for the second largest religion in the world than to haphazardly throw around halal labels in the dining hall food that as recently as last year clearly was not halal. It took a national embarrassment for the Northwestern administration at the hands of some kids in tents to think that maybe, just maybe, they should recognize the humanity of some of their most vulnerable students. And this brings me to a conclusion that I'm not happy to find myself at, like a Northwestern football game. This was the easiest one for the administration to make. It wasn't a capitulation, it was a return to form. They get to go back on their promises and save money in the process, disguising it as a necessary step towards securing funding. And maybe it was necessary, but I'm not so sure. I think the university is more than happy to spit on the collective effort of these students and show them that they hold the real power. They giveth, but they would rather taketh away. And they didn't even giveth everything that the protesters wanted it. But now Trump comes knocking, and they're happy to giveth even more. I want to focus on the last kicker, are the concessions Northwestern made in regard to its international student population. Northwestern will ensure that international students are asked questions designed to elicit their reasons for wishing to study at Northwestern and in the US. Are we idiots? Hey kid, why do you want to study at the 6th best university in America? Cause fucking duh, dude. You know how hard everyone glazes the administration in their essays to begin with? Like your admission essay, do you remember what you were saying? I was like, I'm pulled from different facets cause I'm multifaceted and is in my DNA and this is what I say. Like shut the fuck up, dude. I didn't even write that. I just pulled that straight from my memories. You really want these kids to like grovel extra hard? Northwestern will also develop training materials to socialize international students to the norms of a campus dedicated to free inquiry and open debate. That scares me because Socializing international students to be more Americanized is insane. Nativism is popping up across America, England, and much of the European world. A fear that culture is being replaced and a desire for immigrants to assimilate. It's led to increased racism, Islamophobia, xenophobia, and in England, full-blown race riots. I fear this sentiment is spreading here. Socializing international students to our norms of free inquiry and open debate. We know what Trump's America means by free inquiry and open debate. It means that if you are a Nazi, I have to accept your beliefs instead of beating the shit out of you. And this is their attempt to ensure that the students that come from abroad are more conservative, more in line with his administration, and are, in their eyes, the good kind of immigrant. Northwestern will also provide the U.S., upon request, all disciplinary actions involving student visa holders for criminal activity, including trespass or other violations of the law. This means that Northwestern will rat out every single international student if given the choice. This also means that for every single international student, Northwestern has cornered itself into a position where it will, at the drop of a hat, have to choose between one student and $790 million. Do you trust Northwestern to value the safety of one student over $790 million? I don't even trust myself to do that. $790 million for one person? Mahan? It's been real, dude. Fuck. Also, the key word there is including trespass. That means that for every international student who is caught freely inquiring or openly debating a policy by exercising their First Amendment right to free speech and protest, they will be sold out to the government. Northwestern, in their infinite wisdom and lack of funding, has signed themselves into a paradox that they cannot escape from. They could not cite students for protesting, but they can't because they don't want to. Northwestern will also establish procedures by which any member of the Northwestern community can report allegations of noncompliance to the U.S. government. This means that for every student with a means to, they can report any instance that the university doesn't uphold its end of the deal. This gives incredible power to any student who just feels like it. You know how dangerous that is? SIGNU already made just submitting a complaint for shits and giggles one of their pledge tasks. Anyone who feels slighted can submit a report, and Northwestern has to investigate it, providing receipts to the government. I understand that there's a need to restore this funding, and this deal has made it very hard for the university to be the university that it claims to be. There's no accepting these terms on paper while secretly just supporting its marginalized students. There's too many checks for that. They've completely fallen in line, and we can only hope with all the hope in our hearts that someone in power can grow a spine and do anything. For a weaker updates, more up close look, I've been Diego Goldfrank. I'll see you next week. Or in 3 days. This was late.